Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cloud Show. I have the privilege and pleasure of talking to a good friend today on the show, and he's been on a bit of a transformational journey, if you will. He says to me, like, I'm really happy to help to make an impact on this world and how corporate operates in general, how that works. And he's been on this journey from being more of a technical person to being more of a business leader. So today, on the Cloud Show, we're going to talk to Jasjit Chopra. He is the CEO of Pantara Technologies. Hello, my friend.
Hello.
It is good to see you.
Same here, Magnus. It's been a while.
It's been a while, definitely, yeah. But we usually hang out at things like the MVP Summit or different conferences.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, we do. Absolutely. All right. So, but tell the audience, where are you based out of?
So it's a very small city called Mohali. Those who play cricket or follow cricket, they know we have a big stadium here. So anybody in the world of cricket knows where Mohali is. But in general, it's 5 hours north of New Delhi, and it's right on the foothills of Himalayas. So 1 hour drive into the mountains. It's pretty good. Provided the roads and the weather is good, you get a good drive up there in an hour.
This is one part of it. I'm going to have to come visit now because this is one part of India that I haven't really been. I want to see the foothills of the mountain and that sort of stuff. I haven't seen.
Yeah, we have the Shivalik Hills right next to us. So
very nice, lovely. Okay, cool. Absolutely. So there you are as the CEO of your own company, right? Pantara Technologies.
That's correct. Yes. Yeah. It was an accident in making in general. I never wanted to stand up a company. But yeah, as life would have it, you sometimes end up where you're meant to be, not where you're supposed to be or you want to be. So yeah, that's how my journey has been so far. But yeah. In general, about me, I was born and brought up in Agra. You've been to Taj Mahal a couple of times, right?
Nice.
Yes. I know. So yeah, it was a very small town, and my family and their relatives and everybody around me was surrounded with business families. Mm-hmm. And it's very hard for anyone to break out of that circle in general and get into the service industry because people usually just follow the succession in their parents, right? Okay, your father was a businessman, your grandfather was a businessman, you just take the charge and continue that line in general, right?
Yep.
So till 7th grade wanted to be a doctor. And then, yeah, I loved biology. Biology was my favorite subject.
Wow, that's brilliant.
Yeah. And mathematics was second. But then my dad got me a computer in 7th grade. It was an 80386 processor. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was an assembled PC. It was not some branded chip. It was very expensive those days. And he actually bought it for his business and he couldn't use it. So instead of throwing it away, he's like, oh, I'll make an investment in my son and give it to him and see where it leads. Yeah,
exactly. Little did he know, right?
Little, yes, exactly. Where he's just sending me on a very different trajectory right then. It had like 4 MB hard drive and 256 KB RAM.
Really?
That's what it had. Yes, we deal in terabytes today, and the funny part is, my uncle who set that up for me lived on the other side of the city. So whenever there used to be a problem, he used to tell me to pick up my cordless phone and open the screws and look inside the PC. So till my 10th grade, I knew all the parts and knew how to disassemble and assemble those PCs at that point in time. Yeah, so that was pretty amazing. And yeah, the geek was awakened at that point in time, right? So learned DOS, Fortran, COBOL, Pascal, all these languages apart from what was being taught in the school. I learned everything on my own. So yeah, that did reduce my trips to the outside world where I was playing less in the ground, right?
That's yeah, for sure. I can tell. Well, all right. So you started as many do with tech as a young person, younger. Let's go there, right? Younger, yes. Younger person, or as a small child, and growing up with technology. So you fell into or came into a technical background, and then you worked your way into like tech. Because I know you as a Microsoft most valuable professional, right? So
correct.
So I mean the journey there it's a pretty steep curve to reach those heights?
Oh, it was a horrible start in general.
Yeah.
Magnus, not many people know this. So by the time I graduated, and even after my 12th, so in India, you have to give exams just like you have SATs. You have to give exams here, joint entrance exams, to get into a good college. I did not knew about them until very late, because it was my prerogative to have done the research in the right way, but there were no mentors in that small city. And since you were surrounded by a certain group of people, you don't tend to get the vision, or you don't get to, if you don't hang out with people, you sometimes don't understand what else is out there in the world to explore, right?
Right.
Even though I still take it on me that, why didn't I explore, why didn't I think of where I want to end up in 10-20 years, right? So ended up doing commerce, like BCom, not even an engineering course. I'm not an engineer from graduation perspective, but I could code better than computer science students by the time I graduated, because I ended up doing a diploma course as well, right? And by the time my graduation is over, my family's broke completely. We didn't have money. It was really horrible. And my father, at that point in time, was okay. But then I was admitted in France in one of the top 5 B schools. So that was really detour, with the fact that I got accepted into a scholarship program for a master's. So I did my MBA in technology and management, and my minors was in finance, majors was in technology. So that completely that changed my whole life, my course of how I see the world, because that was my first foray as an international student in a city which I am not aware of. I barely knew how to speak decent French. Doing grocery shopping was really like, we just look so stupid with carrying dictionary with us, Okay, what's Queen, right? So yeah, that my college was amazing. They crammed 2 years of learning in 13 months, basically.
Wow.
We barely got any.
That's rough.
That was rough. Man, I wanted to do a PhD, but 2 months into that MBA program, I was like, to hell with PhD. Let me just finish this. I don't want to study that long anymore.
Right.
Right there, my PhD dreams were shattered. And then, after coming back, nobody would give me a job at all in India, because my resume has commerce in it. Like, my graduation was in BCom, right? Here they call it Bachelor of Commerce. And at that point in time, I'm talking about 2004, the application tracking system, where you upload in big companies, when you upload these resumes, they would automatically see these keywords and reject you. So my resume passed the first level, basically, even though I knew programming languages, I had diplomas, everything was there.
Right.
But, so I ended up on the ground operational floor of GE Healthcare for 2 years in Gurgaon. So that's where, for the first time, that was like, okay, I was very accustomed to managing different types of businesses, because my family was running a retail clothing business, and we were also running, for a very long number of years, we were running FMCG wholesale distribution. So in India, Bisleri is a big brand, right? The water brand. So my father and my grandfather, they were jointly running wholesale distribution of water in and around Agra. So it was not just one city; there were multiple cities, and we did that for 30 years. So I even implemented technology over there myself, where if our distribution vehicle is around you and you give us a call, I can page using the pagers that came in. I could page my guys in the field, and they would deliver it to you within a couple of hours, and my customers were really happy.
Oh, that's cool.
So I did that years ago, and the only reason it worked at that point in time, because at that time the pages were introduced with the new Hindi language, so my drivers could read it.
Oh, that's good.
That was really transformational, and I couldn't understand. I couldn't have understood. I couldn't, understood the impact it would make to the revenue that we would get and the satisfaction level we got from our customers.
Right.
Otherwise, they would have to wait for a week sometimes because our paths would take long to get back
But I
to
mean,
that
you saw
area
a
of servicing.
problem, and
Yeah,
you try to envision a solution using technology
right.
for that
Exactly.
business problem, right?
Right. And yeah, one thing led to the other. GE Healthcare, extremely toxic environment. You know, I mean, I'm not saying the whole GE Healthcare is bad. No, absolutely not. But the division that I was a part of here in Gurgaon, that was it used to be called GE Capital International Services before it became Genpact. Now it's called Genpact, by the way. So um, if you're a manager over there and you took 10 different or 10 difficult steps to become a manager,
Yeah.
their mindset and their vision was, oh, the person who's coming as a successor, he should probably climb 100 steps because I took 10. You know, I will make his life more difficult. And yeah, exactly. And my thought process is like, dude, you're there to remove those 10 steps for the other guy to come up, not add to his suffering, right? But again, the work culture was very difficult for me to work there. But those 2 years grilled me for probably when I would start this company and know exactly what not to do, right?
Good, very
So
good.
that
Yeah.
was one of the things that really helped me in making sure that I don't mess up the culture that I have. And I'm very proud of seeing happy faces in my office today. Yeah.
Okay. So then you started your company.
That is correct. No, I actually ended up. So again, I was getting peanuts at that point in time too. In there, right? And another financial crisis came where my father started to have health problems, and he was diagnosed with kidney chronic disease at that point in time. You know, even though the transplant and the dialysis were years away at that point in time, but we had to get ready. So that kind of pushed me into, oh, how do I make more money now? This is enough. I cannot, stay at a point where I just keep learning. There was a lot of learning in GE, by the way. It's not that was all bad in general. So that's when I made the decision to start applying for jobs in the United States, and I got accepted. I came here. I worked from 2007 to 2011, almost 4+ years. I was in the US. Did a lot of consulting gigs, made a decent amount of money. I couldn't have imagined I would make that much amount of money in 4 years, to be honest. And SharePoint was my gig at that point in time. And GE was where I was introduced to SharePoint, by the way. My first job, GE Healthcare. So that was my first job after coming back from France. So that is exactly where I got access to SharePoint. I was made the site admin over there for the second version of SharePoint that was deployed in the very beginning. It was not even called SharePoint. It was called Virtual Server, something like that, right? So that's when I started falling in love with SharePoint way back in 2007, right? 2004, sorry. 2005 and 2006, sorry, my bad. 2005 and 2006 is when I worked for GE Healthcare. That's when I started getting my hands dirty with SharePoint. Came to US, did a lot of consulting. I even did a project for a nuclear power plant in Maryland on SharePoint.
Really?
Yeah, that was a joint project with Accenture and Avanade. I loved that project. Oh, that was really exciting, absolutely. And then again, things took a little bit of downturn. I had to come back in 2011. My family needed me. And since then I'm here, and one thing led to the other, and I opened up my company. And boy, it has been a very satisfying journey. Last year in June, we completed 10 years. And so
let's talk about that. Let's talk about the journey with your company. So you now have a solid technical experience and background, and then you thought it would be a good idea to start a company and become a business person.
Yeah, because you could save on taxes, right? It's a legal way to go ahead and expense for everything that you're doing related to your company. So that's actually how it started. And I was like, maybe if it goes big, I need to have the right name for it, right? So I did a lot of research. And I was a big fan of Star Trek. So Benthara comes from a planet that was named Benthara 4 in one of the Star Trek series.
That's
where this name comes from. Yeah, exactly.
So it's only just the name, if you will. But now it's
That
yours.
is correct. That is correct. Well, the planet name was Pantara 4. It was not copyrighted or anything, so I used it in Pantara Technologies sense. Not
Very nice. It's a good name.
Yeah, it is. It is very unique. So yeah, and now I'm trying to figure out how to make my company really good in terms of how I can take care of my employees first, right?
Okay.
I loved how Jack Welch led as well in general for GE, but the concept of shareholder supremacy doesn't hold well with me in general, because you need to have some level of equal distribution of wealth, and how you're earning, and figure out a way to distribute it within your employees in a very how do I say this, in a very fair way, which makes sense. And I'm still struggling with that, by the way. It's not I have a formula for that, but as long as my company is profitable, I'll put my employees first. But it has to be profitable, whether it's even 1 rupee or $1. I don't care, right? If I'm making money, I'm good, right?
Okay.
And you cannot move forward or progress alone, right? You have to bring everyone together.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
for me to understand that, and the fact that whatever your employees are doing, wherever they are going, and one of the biggest revelations recently has been on the part where I'm badgering myself for it, because you have an employee who's sitting at a comfort zone and he's doing things really well, and you're trying to push him, hey, you're here, can we get you here? Yeah, I want to get here. But then 1 month passes, 2 months passes, he's comfortable there, he's not moving no matter what. You talk to him openly, it doesn't happen, and then eventually what that leads to is you figure out a way, because when that happens, you figure out a way where you find that, okay, maybe things are not working what I'm expecting from you versus what you want from me, so maybe we can call it ties and part ways in a very healthy, normal relationship way. But then when you think about it as a leader, that also is wrong. For me now, I have to think about multiple ways to see how I can motivate them, not just one way, and talk about it in one way, right? So you have to understand what they want at any given point in time. Maybe they're saying they want to be here, but they don't want to be there, they want to be somewhere else. So you can't just give up in one way and start those kind of discussions. So it's really sometimes it's difficult to have this kind of conversation, to have that level of clarity in your thought, what you want versus what the other person wants, and bring everything on the table, so you have a very candid and a fair, open discussion from that perspective. So everything points to me now that you should try this, you should try that. So any time when my employee goes wrong, the first question now that pops up in my mind is, what are you doing for them to make them right first?
There you go.
Have you done your homework first before you can point fingers at anyone for anything? So.
But I think yours sounds like a company that people would like to work for, because it sounds like you have a good set of priorities to ensure that your people are comfortable and progressing and doing their best. That's also going to, in the end, make you successful as well.
Yep. Absolutely. I hope so. I really hope so.
That's the plan.
That's the plan. Exactly.
But I think that's a very important attitude to have, because I agree with you about just in general. I mean, there are definitely holding companies that are good and that treat their employees in a fair and nice way. Definitely. But I've found that some of the best expert companies are the ones that are privately held and expertly focused. That's generally what I see. But I haven't seen every company in the world, of course.
But Mark, up until 2 years ago, I never wanted to grow. I was like, I'm a team of 14, 15 people, maybe 20. Well, I'll go to 20 and never grow. I wanted to be there. I never wanted to move. But then when I saw the cycle that was going in and out, because I would say no to the business when I'm full, and then I had to sit down and see that cycle go again and again, where I have projects, I don't have projects, I have projects, I don't have projects, right? It would demotivate, and I would lose my real good employees at that point in time when this business got slow. And I'm like, okay, let's just go ahead and expand. And one of the fear was to make sure I don't lose this culture when I expand, right?
Yeah, that's hard. That's hard. From going from a small company to a more of a medium-sized company, that's very challenging in terms of the cultural growth inside of the company.
Yeah, so my weekends are filled with now reading books about leadership one way or the other, which
Wow.
I should have done. So this is one advice I could give anyone. I don't care whether you will ever run a company or not, whether you will become an entrepreneur or not, it doesn't matter. If you are within, even if you've touched 4 years as a technical leader or a technical person in any form or fashion, start reading leadership and management books. They help you a hell lot in terms of how you communicate, how you work on yourself, and
Right.
become a better person in general. Even with your personal relationships, these books teach you a lot, not just how to run an organization in general, but how to behave and how to openly have a very candid conversations with people and make them understand what you really want versus what you're saying in general, right? So
Right. I like that a lot. That's lovely. Yeah.
so yeah,
Brilliant.
that'll 5x or 10x your success rate or your where you want to go in your
So
career.
as sort of a final thing here for this episode, what's next for you? Where are you going now? Like, is it?
I guess you can guess where everybody's going today, right? But yeah, I have two things that I'm passionate about. One
Mhm.
is giving back to the community in general. That's probably why I've been awarded that MVP
That's
in
probably it.
general,
Yep.
right? And actually, I got that program because of Global Azure Bootcamp, you know. So I ran that for a couple of years in my city, and the CPM noticed me, and they're like, "Oh, you should be in the MVP program because you run those
There
a
you
couple of
go.
times." Yeah.
Community is
So
the best, man.
thank you so much for starting that. So
You
uh,
were the guy. You were the guy running the events. So you.
I know,
Yeah.
I know, but still,
Yeah.
if you didn't put it out there, I wouldn't have picked it up either, right? So
Very cool
uh,
though. Like it.
yeah, in general, just never stop growing and never stop learning. And for me, the next thing is I'm really passionate about security as well, right? So I'm trying to figure out ways to marry AI and security in ways that have not been done
Nice.
before. So let's see what happens next. Maybe
That's
another
the
venture,
idea. So if you,
another
yep. So if you're
another
listening and
company.
you want to work
Yeah,
with in a company with good growth and about security and so on and so forth, and there you go. I plugged your business. See if you can get some
exactly,
more people to join you.
exactly, absolutely.
All right.
Right.
Well, listen, it's been so nice to talk to you, and what an interesting, fascinating journey you have had throughout
Thank you,
your
Magnus.
career. And I think a lot of people here, for example, in India and elsewhere in general, would be good to hear your story and see your passion and your journey. So I
Absolutely.
very much appreciate you being on the Cloud Show today. It was lovely
Thank
talking
you.
to you, Jasjit. We could talk for hours
Yeah,
about all the things,
I know.
but anyway, we can't. So thank you,
Thank you so much, Magnus. Take care.
and thanks, audience, for watching the Cloud Show. And next week we'll see about another topic on the Cloud Show.